What's good? Brian Tong here, and welcome to the Apple Bits for everything good and bad inside the world of Apple. Guess what? We've got a new product drop. That's right, after Apple releases their new MagSafe Battery Pack, we'll talk about that. There's more iPhone 13 details, and are we going to finally get Touch ID and maybe a better optical zoom? Plus, Apple releases new iOS and macOS betas that change up Safari, and a big reveal for the future of the Apple Watch. It's ready to make a huge leap, but maybe next year. So let's start off with an actual Apple product before we get to all the rumor reports. And Apple finally unveiled their rumored MagSafe battery pack that's designed to work with the entire iPhone 12 family. It's $99. It only comes in white, and it attaches to the back via MagSafe. Now, this battery pack is the first Apple accessory that supports reverse wireless charging, and it's made for the entire iPhone 12 lineup. So let's say you're charging your iPhone connected through the Lightning port. The MagSafe battery pack will charge at the same time as the iPhone. Your iPhone will charge to roughly about 80% or higher first before it starts charging the MagSafe battery pack, and its primary use is really going to be when you're out and about, and the battery pack charges the iPhone at 5 watts. Now, Apple, they've deliberately limited its charging speed for heat concerns and to really extend its battery life. Now, if the MagSafe battery pack is attached to an iPhone and the battery pack itself is connected to a 20 watts or higher charger that's plugged in, the iPhone will charge through the battery pack at 15 watts. Now, you're going to most likely be using it on the go, and you're not going to be connected to a power adapter. So just to be clear, when you're in that situation, it's only 5 watts. Now, there are plenty of third-party chargers, obviously, that aren't magnetic, and they can charge an iPhone from, 12 watts to 18 watts using USB-A or C with a connection and cable, and they're $40 to $50 that most people just throw in their bags. I think you probably already have one. Now, this MagSafe battery pack will charge other devices as well, like the iPhone 11 lineup, because it is based on Qi wireless charging, but it won't stay in place because it obviously doesn't have the MagSafe magnets like the iPhone 12 lineup does. Now, I'll be getting my hands on one real soon, and I'll do the unboxing and the breakdown then. You can buy it right now online, and in the US, delivery times are out to July 26th and 28th, after originally being available the 19th to the 21st. But here's the biggest takeaway. Apple's actually had reverse wireless charging capability in the iPhone 12 lineup this entire time. Thanks, guys. But what do you all think? $99 for this? I know there are those of you who are just going to buy this no matter what. You're going to buy anything Apple puts out. But for those of you that are, let's say, a little more measured, is this a compelling enough product for you? Does it fit a need for you? Yes or no? I mean, I'd love to see what Apple Bits Nation thinks. So just put your thoughts in the comments, and maybe you'll be lucky enough to get your comment hearted by me, because I don't just heart anybody. And since we're talking iPhone, let's get to the latest reports. Each week, we're getting another tidbit here and there, and the iPhone 13 picture, now more than ever, has really come together. The latest report from Digitime says the new iPhone will get upgraded to the improved Wi-Fi 6E protocol that offers significantly faster Wi-Fi speeds and adds the 6 gigahertz frequency band. Now, it also brings increased bandwidth, works more efficiently, and will have less interference for devices that support Wi-Fi 6E. But you will need to have a Wi-Fi 6E compatible router and then devices to take advantage of it. So this is a really nice to have feature for future proofing, but most of you, really most people, will not be able to take advantage of its benefits until they get the proper hardware. Now, the Digitimes report also says that the LiDAR sensor that helps with low light portrait photos and better accuracy for augmented reality, that's going to end up staying exclusive to the higher-end Pro and Pro Max models this year and will not be included in the entire iPhone 13 lineup, which had been rumored earlier in the year. Bloomberg also chimed in with a recap of what we expect. We know this. The same 4 sizes for iPhones, with an announcement in September and at least one Pro model with the ProMotion 120Hz refresh rate. We are still expecting a smaller notch, but Bloomberg says there will be no in-display Touch ID in the iPhone 13 lineup. Now, reports have said Apple did test it out for this year's iPhone, but don't hold your breath now. The in-screen fingerprint scanner is not expected to be part of this year's iPhone launch. And sure, Apple's goal is to eventually remove the notch, at least we hope so, but it's believed even the 2022 iPhones will still keep the notch, according to Bloomberg. Yeah, notch cool, Apple. Not cool at all. But what about an improved optical zoom, right? On the iPhone, that's something that hasn't happened, and we kind of desperately need it. Well, patently, Apple recently found a patent titled Folded Camera from Apple, and it reveals Apple has been granted a broad patent for a periscope camera system. Now, if you aren't familiar with what this is, it's a camera system with folded optics inside the body of a phone that allows for significantly improved optical zoom and image quality. Now, Samsung has already knocked it out of the park with their own periscope lens since the Galaxy S20 Ultra, the current S21 Ultra. That brings a true 10x optical zoom. and it's going to absolutely really change how you use your camera. Well, Apple's current best optical zoom is still at 2 and 2.5x, depending on the iPhone. The periscope lens tech, this was first rumored to be coming to the iPhone for the very first time as soon as next year. But come on, let's be honest. Let's be really realistic here. I think we're talking about more like 2023, and that makes me a sad Apple. Aww. But you know what maybe can instantly distract me from staying in my feelings, knowing that the iPhone is getting features 3 to 4 years after the competition? Emojis! You gotta love them. The Unicode Consortium, this is the organization that approves the new emojis that will be added in the Emoji 14 update. They just revealed what we can expect to see this year. Check it out. New face emojis include the melting face, a face with like a peeking eye, peekaboo. There's a saluting face, and then also holding back tears face, which I tend to do a lot here. There's also new hand emojis like reaching out, shaking hands, or the single hand heart with your fingers. I do that at the end of the shows. There's also this sassy biting lip emoji that I can add to my regular rotation of the eggplant, peach, and squirt. Plus new ones like coral or beans. There's even a slide or a low battery emoji. Now, there's a strong chance all these make it to the next iOS emoji update. That's usually around September. And World Emoji Day is coming on July 17th, where Apple has revealed their emoji plans in the past. Now, I'm ready. And I don't know, do you feel better now? Because I do. I mean, that just like lifted my spirits. All right, Apple also released the third betas for iOS 15, iPadOS 15, tvOS 15, watchOS 8, and macOS Monterey. There's small tweaks here and there, but we've seen Apple here respond to a lot of the feedback with the functionality of Safari in these latest betas. Now, iOS 15 Safari gets the biggest changes because I absolutely did not like the experience before this third beta. The URL bar on the bottom now stays in the bottom area instead of bouncing around from the top and back down. When you enter in a new URL or search, the URL bar stays connected right above the keyboard and it doesn't float to the top. It just makes so much more sense, especially after getting used to the new Safari in the first place. I like it a whole lot better. Now you can swipe down on the area above the bar if you want to go back to the full page, and the URL bar goes back to the bottom when you're done using it. And if you also do a long press on the floating tab bar, it gives you all the options you need, including initiating a reload of the page. Now Safari in the macOS Monterey Beta 3 gets a redesigned tab interface after people complained about it in earlier versions. Apple is now bringing back the tab bar that rests below the dedicated URL and search interface. Previously, it was just a row of tabs on top that was intended to minimize the space they take up. I actually liked how it looked. It was pretty clean, but it was confusing or just really a turnoff for others. Now, you will have the option to go into the view settings and toggle off show separate tab bar if you liked the original Monterey design, which I do. And they'll be bringing this same feature to Safari in a future update for iPadOS, but just not yet. Now, universal control, it isn't active in the beta still. This lets you use the iPad and Mac displays as one continuous display, but in the system preferences, they have now added advanced options specific to the universal control feature. But I really can't remember the last time that I saw Apple respond just so quickly in betas and make really significant design changes in a beta flagship app like Safari. And I love all the changes that they've made, especially the user experience for Safari for iOS 15. And you know what? That's a good Apple. Yeah! It is. All right, now we said we'd talk Apple Watch, and we might have just been given a peek at its future. Rockley Photonics is an Apple partner and supplier that just unveiled its latest advanced sensor system for health monitoring. It's what they call a clinic on the wrist. It's a digital health sensor system that allows wearables like the Apple Watch to potentially measure core body temperature, blood pressure, body hydration, alcohol, lactate, glucose trends, and more, all in one system. Now, this is a miniaturized chip system with optical sensors that provide continuous and non-invasive monitoring of these different biometrics. So that includes blood glucose monitoring, blood alcohol levels, blood oxygen levels, blood pressure, body water percentage, and more. And this is really a breakthrough sensor that's attempting to avoid invasive methods like pricking your finger for blood tests for diabetics, and instead just have it all done with a complex sensor resting against your skin. Now, if you look, the majority of wearables use green LEDs to monitor the heart rate, and we've seen that in earlier Apple Watch models. Rockley's sensor uses infrared spectrophotometers that can detect a much wider range of biometrics because the sensor generates lasers to non-invasively probe beneath the skin. Apple is the largest customer of Rockley Photonics, and Bloomberg reported that Apple is hoping to bring a body temperature sensor to this year's Apple Watch, but it was then reported that's going to be pushed out to a later model, along with the rumored blood glucose monitoring and others maybe years away. This is likely the sensor that's going to be able to do it all if it can live up to those high expectations. Rockley says this new first-gen sensor will be available for commercial use in the first half of next year, and then it will go through in-house human studies and testing. So there's no guarantee that we're going to even see this make it in the Apple Watch next year. Probably not, but it's really a peek into the future and easily the next major generational leap for the Apple Watch if it can get successfully implemented. So until then, my Series 4 is still just running just fine for me, and I think it might be for a while. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for now. If you like what you see, give me that thumbs up, subs up, and hit that notification bell, ding, to get all my videos when they drop. And if you want more Apple goodness, you can check out my weekly Apple Bits XL audio podcast to get all the latest deep dive with these stories and new ones every week with special guests. Plus, if you're in a good mood and you like to support my content, I'd love for you to do it. Patreon.com/BrianTong is where to go. You're going to get early access to my content, rewards at different levels, and a completely ad-free version of my weekly podcast and more. Plus, it allows me to keep doing what I do, and it starts at only $2 a month. So thank you so much, everybody, for watching and supporting it. We'll see you next time. Take care and be safe. Peace and love.